Hello friends, welcome back. In the previous session, I explained you what is ensemble learning and I gave you a simple example of how it works, all the benefits, etc. were discussed very clearly and I hope you understood it. In this session, we are going to understand what is bagging. Bagging is one of the types of ensemble learning and we have homogeneous ensemble learning models and heterogeneous ensemble learning models as the types. And inside the homogeneous, we have got bagging and boosting. We will talk about boosting a little later. I will teach that very clearly with examples as well. But for now, we will stay with bagging. Bagging is also referred as bootstrap aggregating and it falls under the homogeneous ensemble learning models. As you can see in the picture presented in front of you, it is one of the types of homogeneous ensemble learning models. The whole aim or the purpose of ensemble modeling as such or ensemble learning is as such to improve the performance and accuracy of the model. And you need to get the best of the optimized results in the predictions of the model, and that's the whole purpose. And the models that we are building through ensembling or through bagging as such should have the capacity to reduce the bias and variance, or they should be capable of dealing with the bias variance trade-off for an optimized prediction model. So we have to prevent the overfitting of the trained data, and this approach is mostly used in the regression and the classification models, and this works best for the decision tree classification algorithms. So we will teach that a little later and it's going to be very interesting. So overall you understand the simple view that we need to reduce the bias and variance and we need to understand very clearly how do we improve the performance. We have to reduce and prevent the overfitting of the trained data. That's what is the main purpose of all these discussions that I make with you. Now you come back to bagging. In this technique, you have got various single learners or weak learners we call them. They are all trained in parallel. So mainly bagging comes up with three steps: bootstrapping, training done in parallel, and aggregation. So we have this. So the bootstrapping and training done in parallel followed with aggregation is what is very important and you need to understand this flow. The first step is where the training samples are randomly generated from the dataset. You can see the picture that I have presented. We have got the original data and the bootstrapped samples are randomly populated from the original data set and they are then further sent. The complete picture is presented here for your perusal. The bootstrap samples are given to the models that work in parallel. I got model 1, 2, 3 and it goes to model n. They would get aggregated by the ensemble model to provide optimized predictions. So the stage 1 is bootstrapping, the stage 3 is parallel execution of modeling, and finally you get the optimized predictions. I got original data, I get the bootstrap samples, it is being fed into the models, independent models, and all these are getting run in parallel, and then they go into the ensemble model, and finally you get the optimized predictions available for you. That's all. This is called as bagging or bootstrap aggregation. This is a very important concept, so remember it. Bootstrap samples are randomly generated from the original dataset population. Remember it. This is a very important point. You are getting the bootstrap samples randomly populated from the original dataset. And when all these are moved, you can see that all these are moved to the models. They get run in parallel and then you move it onto the ensemble model where you get the aggregations happening and overall optimized predictions will come back at the final stage. That's all. This is what is the bagging in a nutshell. We'll talk more about boosting, we'll talk more about the stacking and the further techniques will also be discussed very clearly. Until then, it's bye from me. If you like the channel and the content, kindly subscribe. Thank you.